Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure to the end. Shabbat Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. And I'm going to start it off with this article / video from technocracy.news.com, which, I got the inspiration of this lesson from the elder Yashawamba of the Dallas camp. But the title of the article is Who and EU Launch AI System to Monitor Social Media and Online Misinformation in Real Time. And you should already know where this is going. The fame of the word, where the men of the Lord are no longer going to be on the highways and byways, or these video epistles are no longer going to be online, which is quickly coming down the pipeline. And this is just more information to, show that fact. But just in case, fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes. And this isn't also any medical information or medical advice. Just monitoring the news.
Welcome to Technocracy News and Trends, the authoritative source of information about technocracy on the internet. I'm Patrick Wood, Editor-in-Chief. Here's the title of the story. Who and EU launch AI system to monitor social media and online misinformation in real time? By Cindy Harper via Reclaim the Net. Published on October 23, 2025. Hey, it's free. No wonder that this real-time sledgehammer has already spread to 110 countries. This will be worse than anything that we experienced during the Great Panic of 2020, COVID mRNA injections. The strategy is to encircle the globe and then squeeze the U.S. into compliance. Offenders will be detected and punished in real time. Patrick Wood, Editor. The World Health Organization has introduced a major overhaul of its global monitoring network, unveiling an AI-powered platform that tracks online conversations and media activity in real time, known as
And with Nero 47, as we always continue to bring up, Project Stargate, $500 billion in building up the U.S.'s AI infrastructure. And who did he have around him? Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, and I believe Sam Altman of OpenAI. And then we can't forget Peter Thiel, who has a Palantir. All these different AI systems to monitor, and track everybody's movements.
Epidemic Intelligence from Open Sources 2.0, EIOS. The system is being presented as a new step in pandemic preparedness, but its reach extends well beyond disease surveillance. The upgrade is part of a growing merger between health monitoring, digital tracking, and centralized information control. Developed with the European Commission's Joint Research Center, JRC, the new version of EIOS is designed to scan the internet for signals of emerging health threats. According to the WHO, it now automatically analyzes social media posts, websites, and other public sources to detect possible outbreaks.
And, it's being veiled as to detect, mis and disinformation on wellness threats. But, to the brothers, that posted information dealing with all that stuff from 2019 to 2021, we saw exactly what happened. I can speak for myself. Videos getting striked, pages getting striked, videos getting taken down, and some pages getting taken down. So, the wellness aspect is just going to be a Trojan horse to cover anything else out here that's labeled as misinformation or disinformation. And we know more pestilences, more things to shake up society are going to come down the pipeline. So they're getting ahead of it. So when they come with these, plans, especially the rollout of the MARK of the beast, that micro C-hip implant in Revelation 13 verses 18. They'll have all the pieces in play to take, in quotes, misinformation and disinformation down, which Isaiah chapter 29, I'm going to start at 18. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness, the spiritual eyes and ears of the elect of the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who through the scattering and living amongst these different heathen nations through the generations have come to look like those heathens, waking up to their identity and coming back to their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, through the preaching of the word, through the prophets, on the highways and byways, as well as through video epistles like this. The meek shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, which is happening right now spiritually with this word through the prophets, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, exposing Esau Edom for who he is, this so-called white man as the devil and Satan that the Bible speaks of, exposing the plans of the elites, like is what I'm doing with this lesson, letting Israel know who they are, and just letting all the nations know of what's coming down the pipeline prophetically, as it says in Matthew 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, which it has been, mainly through the internet, which is, as we're going into with that video, the WHO and the EU are using AI to monitor, the internet globally to find misinformation and disinformation. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And you're seeing all these final prophecies begin to come to their fulfillment, showing you that we are truly in the end. And then the physical aspect's going to come when Yahushua, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, makes his second coming to cut off the, the terrible one and the scorners. Verse 21, the main point I wanted to get to, that make a man an offender for a word, labeling the truth as misinformation and disinformation because it doesn't go along with the mainstream narrative, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for naught, using AI as that snare.
While this is described as a tool for early warning, it effectively allows a global health authority to observe the world's digital conversations under the banner of safety. The WHO's EIOS collaboration page indicates that partners are also exploring projects such as news article credibility detection and misinformation classification systems. These initiatives suggest a growing interest in shaping how information is categorized and filtered. The latter effort appears linked to the JRC's Misinfo Classifier, released in 2020, which the JRC described as an AI program that detects fake news by analyzing the tone and intensity of language in articles. The organization claimed the tool
by analyzing the tone and intensity in articles to discover fake news. And what they're pretty much saying is anything that goes against the official narrative and the passion, with which the people are bringing out that information, which easily lines up with us, because our entire message is against this entire system. And hey, when brothers get in the spirit, they really get on exposing you devils.
Achieved an 80% success rate and stated that this is comparable to the state of the art right now. At the time, the JRC said the classifier was already in use by the European Commission and European Parliament, and that it would soon be shared with professional fact-checking organizations. The existence of that project highlights how data analysis and information control are being integrated into public health infrastructure. The WHO reports that iOS now operates in more than 110 countries and collaborates with over 30 organizations, including national governments and the European Commission. The platform is being offered free of charge to eligible users, along with training materials and support. This approach ties national monitoring systems directly into a WHO-managed network that continuously gathers and processes global data. The WHO's concept of social listening sheds more light on this strategy. It defines social listening as the process of listening to and analyzing conversations and narratives to understand people's attitudes, knowledge, beliefs, and intentions. In practical terms, this means that the organization is not only collecting data about disease, but also analyzing how citizens think and communicate online. In its October 13th announcement, the WHO described EIOS 2.0 as more open, more agile, and more inclusive. However, under that language lies an expanding surveillance framework that uses artificial intelligence to interpret global social behavior. A system supposedly for improving health security could easily function as a tool for monitoring public opinion and online expression. This initiative combines artificial intelligence, government cooperation, and social media tracking under the label of global health security.
Straight to the point. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, Esau, Edom, should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. It sounds good to monitor mis and disinformation and fake news so that people aren't dissuaded from going along with what the experts, tell people to go along with, which, during 2019 to 2021, they told you to drink a certain type of drink. And now we're seeing a lot of people are regretting that and having effects from it. But, Salakia, kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. This is all ultimately to come against the men of the Lord in the truth and label it as all those things so they can be justified in, laying that snare and making a man an offender for a word to arrest the men of the Lord and, scrub these videos permanently from the internet.
It represents a change from traditional disease control toward the ongoing analysis of public communication, where algorithms determine which discussions appear relevant or misleading. This is something that the WHO has been looking at implementing for some time. For countries choosing to adopt EIOS, dependence on WHO data and analysis may come at the cost of digital independence. Under the justification of protecting public health, the WHO is establishing an always-on digital network that watches, classifies, and evaluates global discourse, quietly redefining what it means to manage health and information in the same breath.
So with that clip, and this is also just another example of Esau, Edom trying to play God by using AI to, monitor everybody's, speech, what they look at, what they think, being omnipresent and, omnipotent. Which, real quick, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, which is taking a place, with the nation of Israel, falling away from their identity for a time, with the northern kingdom coming to the Americas after the Assyrian captivity, and then, the southern kingdom being kicked out of the land after 70 AD. And then we had, the Dark Ages, all the way through to the Renaissance, the transatlantic slave trade, to today with the Great Awakening of Israel coming back to their identity. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau, Edom. And sin is the transgression of the law. And when you look at Esau's societies, especially in the West, everything is built contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments. And perdition means destruction. And just look at how Esau's been ruling since he came back into power with the Renaissance, by the sword, the military. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. And with that devil, Noah Yuval Harari, what did he say? Jesus is fake news, which he is true in that sense, but Yahushua is the true news, and that we no longer need God. It used to be God that created famines, but now we control the weather. And, through AI and technology, we can become gods, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High through his technology and his AI. The Lord knows everyone's thoughts, what everybody's doing, and all those things. And Esau plans to do the same thing with AI, monitor what you're thinking, what you're doing, and, really with these C-hip implants, especially with these BCIs or brain computer interfaces like Neuralink, he ultimately wants to know your very thoughts within your head, not just what you're typing online. But I'm going to go to the second article on the peoplesvoice.tv. YouTube has deleted over 700 videos of alleged 1948er war crimes. And, a couple of weeks ago, what did you have? YouTube locking up for up to 1 million users to where they couldn't access it. And as the beloved brother Amawan Gabar of the New York camp said, when he was trying to get on, you could see the video, but when you went to click on it, you couldn't. Hey, just another stage being set for videos being scrubbed off of YouTube. And, Apostle Tahar just recently put out an order that brothers should make a Rumble and an Odyssey account. Why? Because our days on YouTube are coming to an end, and really the days of these videos being online on other platforms is coming to an end. YouTube has reportedly deleted hundreds of videos documenting alleged 1948er war crimes. According to the American nonprofit news outlet The Intercept, the platform removed hundreds of videos documenting alleged human rights violations by the 1948ers in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, including eyewitness accounts, investigative reports, and humanitarian footage. YouTube has cited U.S. sanctions against NGOs that investigated the abuses as the reason. And I believe it was on TikTok that they removed the juice box emoji because people were using the juice box as a coded term for the little hats. Hey, they're getting, especially through Larry Ellison, the 1948ers are getting more and more control of these different social media and internet platforms because they're getting exposed out here and they're trying to do damage control. And those that have been exposing them the most are, again, the men of the Lord. If you go through my, pages, I've done plenty of videos on these Amalekites. RT reports, since October, the video hosting platform has reportedly deleted more than 700 videos and suspended the accounts of prominent Palestinian human rights groups Al-Haq, Al-Mazan Center for Human Rights, and the Palestinian Center for Human Rights. The deleted materials reportedly included an investigation into the deletion of Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh by 1948er forces, footage of home demolitions in the West Bank, and a documentary about mothers who survived 1948er assaults on Gaza. The Intercept described the removals as part of a broader U.S.-backed effort to suppress documentation of alleged 1948er war crimes. The same Palestinian organizations targeted by YouTube were sanctioned by Washington in September for submitting evidence to the International Criminal Court against 1948er Prime Minister Benjamin Milkowski and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The ICC issued arrest warrants for both officials in 2024 and over alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Hey, we know that they're about to persecute the men of the Lord, make a man an offender for a word. So organizations like GMS or Brothers might get sanctions put on them. A YouTube spokesperson, Boot Bullwinkle, told The Intercept that the platform's owner, Google, is committed to compliance with applicable sanctions. Washington's influence over tech companies became a national controversy during the Joe Biden presidency. In the Murphy v. Missouri case, federal agencies were accused of pressuring Meta, Twitter, and YouTube, which Twitter, which is now X, is owned by Elon Musk, to suppress disfavorable opinions under the pretext of combating misinformation. And this can easily be tied in with the WHO and the EU's use of AI system to monitor fake news and mis and disinformation. In that one aspect with health, in other aspects dealing with what? Misinformation on war crimes, anti-simulationism, all these things. The Supreme Court dismissed the case in 2024 on procedural grounds, leaving unresolved whether such government platform coordination violates the constitutional right to the freedom of speech. But hey, on all levels, we can see that the powers that be are putting this internet on lockdown. So like we always tell you, sincere Akim and Akwat out there, now is the time to be drinking from these rivers of living waters while you still can, because the famine of the word is quickly coming down the pipeline, which I'm going to close it out in Amos chapter 8. I'm going to read verses 11 to 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, though those things are coming as well, but of hearing the words of Yahweh, the famine of the word. Whereas I've been saying, the men of the Lord will no longer be on the highways and byways, and these video epistles will no longer be online. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. That's just how, expansive and detrimental the famine of the word is going to be. In that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst spiritually, because all hell's going to have been broken loose during Jacob's trouble. And that's when, 2/3 of our people are going to be looking for answers. But the only answer they're going to find is in 2 Ezra chapter 9, where it says, and then shall they know it after death by pain. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom.